What's the worst pizza topping ever? Irasula said. I've mentioned this before, but I once had the displeasure of eating a pizza where they apparently decided to use ketchup instead of the usual marinara sauce. Worst pizza I have ever eaten in my life. Please never do this, people. Just because they are both red doesn't mean you can substitute one for the other. Brian Cornpop said. Back when my mother was around 12 years old, my mom and her friends decided to make a pizza, and they knew what goes on it. Pizza dough, a tomato marinara, pizza cheese, which is a mixture of mozzarella and provolone, and pepperoni sausage. They knew all this, but they did not have anything except the pizza dough. Because of the electric oven, the dough would not rise, so they turned the oven on a little bit so the dough would rise, but it only ended up burning the edge and leaving the inside alone. They had to rip off the burnt dough and stretch it out by hand. Then when they wanted to add the marinara to the pizza, they could not find any, so they substituted tomato soup. They looked for either mozzarella or provolone, but since they could not find either, they used American cheese. Finally, they realized that they did not have any pepperoni, so they cut up a few hot dogs and added that as a topping. Then they put it in the oven and let it bake. Because the dough did not rise at all, the dough was as thin and as tough as a cracker, and the tomato soup was not adhesive at all and kept falling off the pizza, and the American cheese melted together and floated on top of the already runny sauce, and the hot dogs were cut too thick to actually cook with the dough. I don't have to explain how terrible it supposedly tastes. All I know is that my mother's little sister, who was 9, somehow managed to stomach the entire rest of the pizza that even the dog would not eat. That is the worst pizza I can imagine. TF2 said. Kinda off topic, but I remember one time when I visited Manhattan. I was at a Wendy's picking up dinner when I saw two very beautiful European, I would guess Eastern European, young ladies. Here I am, the American, ordering a double cheeseburger, but of course they had ordered salads. Being 17 at the time with hormones in overdrive, I was trying to not be a creep and stare, but what they did next still haunts me to this day. They walked over to the ketchup pump and literally doused their salads in ketchup, and I actually started gagging. They looked over at me about to throw up and laughed. They then walked off and ate their ketchup with lettuce. Nitapustnai said. Went to a fancy restaurant once in Spain with a group of friends. We're all from Canada, not exactly the fanciest people, but we like to think we are. Wife and I ordered a special pizza. It's not Italian, but a hell of a lot better than what we get in Canada. Everyone else on a table of about 10 of us were reasonable with our orders. Some spoke some Spanish. Waiter spoke enough English to get along. We were all happy and doing good. One female friend of a friend who happened to join our group without many people knowing her was special though. She ordered a plain pizza with the restaurant meat cuts and cheese, but she wanted anchovies, with pineapple, with special cheese, not the original cheese, with bacon, with onions, with olives, no wait, no bacon, sardines, calamari, no onions, with the day's fish, with shrimp, ham, forget the pineapple, no meat cut, and you will charge me for the price of a regular pizza, right? Waiter patiently waited for about 20 minutes to figure out this order. And I shortened the story as she kept changing things over and over again. Nitapustnai said. We kept telling her pizza was going to be terrible with all of the junk she was asking for, but she kept insisting that this is what she wanted. All our pizzas arrived and we had a great meal. This girl literally cried over her pizza pan full of crap with melted cheese over it. She didn't want to eat it and had it returned. Then she spent another half an hour arguing with the waiter and the chef about not wanting to pay for food she couldn't eat. Everyone kept telling her that she was the one who created this mess. Everyone left and we felt responsible to help her out, actually to just push her along, just about force her to pay for her food and leave. For the rest of the holiday we were together, we refused to eat in a restaurant with her again. Droy05312015 said. Yeah, it's always the group orders where shit like this is the most annoying. Everyone thinks that ordering a bunch of cheese and pepperoni pizza is too boring and they get like one of each of those, then 8 other weird-ass pizzas. The cheese and pepperoni are gone instantly and then the other pizzas are slowly chipped away at. There's always a ton of stupid pizza left over that eventually gets tossed. Thrash Gordon said. Had a party at my place one time and my sister invited a few of her friends, 2 who I had never met. We agreed to order pizza and everyone pitch in. These 2 friends insisted on ordering a large pizza with no cheese, just sauce and onions. You could tell the rest of the group weren't digging that, but we all thought these two would stick to their pizza. Of course, all the pizza arrives, they each eat a slice of their onion marinara bread and then pig out on the rest of the normal pizza. I wasn't happy about it and commented about it. Needless to say, they never came back over. Dragonslayer 180 said, "The correct way to order pizza is all about how many you're ordering. It goes in rounds of 3, every first pizza is plain cheese, every second is pepperoni, every third is a special. So if you're getting 5 pizzas, you get 2 cheese, 2 pepperoni, 1 something else. If you're getting 10, you get 4 cheese, 3 pep, and then 3 specials, maybe sausage pepper, Hawaiian, and buffalo chicken. Come to my parties, we'll all leave happy and full." Edit, thanks for the gold. I've been on Reddit like 10 years and I'm pretty sure I've never gotten gold. You've made me feel like a pretty girl at a party. Edit 2, to everyone complaining about the cheese, some people don't like pepperoni or can't eat it, and then there's people who won't like the other choices you might make for the specials, but everyone is alright with the plain cheese. It might not be anyone's favorite, but it's the consistent backup option, it won't fail you. Disappointing Sex said, "Worked at a pizza restaurant. A customer used to come in every Friday and bring us, sealed from the factory so we could use it behind the counter, baked tofu. Now, I've had baked tofu but this stuff was different. It was verging on silken. We would put it on there for her, with no cheese, and only a little sauce, and it would make the pizza into a soggy mess. She came back every week for one. Tipped us $5 every time. It didn't even resemble pizza anymore. And it stunk when we cooked it, like feet." Digital Priest said, "Tangentially related. When I was young, my hometown had this locally owned combination pizzeria ice cream shop. Building was split down the middle for each purpose but wasn't separated by walls, shared a kitchen. Cue my 2 6-year-old cousins who insisted we get a pizza with chocolate chips and sprinkles. They just would not relent. So the rest of us got a large pizza, and for the 2 of them we got personal pizzas with sprinkles and chocolate chips. They took one bite and turned their noses up and wouldn't touch the rest. Then proceeded to whine and whine that we wouldn't give them our pizza, despite reminding them that we'd warned them repeatedly that they wouldn't like it, offering alternatives, 1 slice that way, etc. Nope, wouldn't have it. You bet your ass we reminded them of that one for a few years every time they complained about food." Charlie Tuna said, "When I was a supervisor for a call center for a pizza chain, I had one complaint get escalated to me. It was a young couple and I was first talking to the guy who said they found a pube on their pizza. I was just doing my job by asking a few questions, but he was kind of sarcastic mean when I heard his wife take the phone saying he's such an asshole. So the wife starts telling me it's their anniversary. I know, super romantic pizza at home. So I'm asking questions and no, it's a short hair that's a different color than either of theirs, so I treated it as any other pizza with a foreign object on it and requested a replacement so the store could examine it to see if there was indeed a pubic hair and whose it might be. I never followed up on it since it got resolved. I could only imagine what happened at the store when they were trying to figure out whose supposed pubic hair and how it got onto this pizza. Hey you, is this your pube in this pizza? Care to tell us how it got there?" And this happened to a couple having a pizza at home anniversary that opened the box and noticed a pube immediately. Charlie Tuna said, "That's what I was assuming. They were quite insistent that it was a pubic hair, which is oddly specific considering how relatively rare finding a hair in food is, and it's not the kind of hair that might inadvertently fall out while preparing food. Of course you don't want to sound skeptical when a customer is claiming a hair or something is found in food, but I guess I was sounding doubtful that it was the specific type of hair they were insistent it was." Threthry Ezekiel said, "I came here expecting a pro versus anti-pineapple turf war. But what I found here is so much more majestic and horrifying. You all motherfuckers need to list where you got your dirty pube pizza from so I can never go there. I don't care if it's in the middle of Nevada or Northeast bumfuck. LOL. Stay classy Reddit." Rich Gillify said, "I bet this is exactly what happened. Maybe it was put in the box upside down. That would be incredibly difficult to not realize you did that thought. Otherwise you're saying a cook at a pizza place just grabbed the dough and set it in the oven without realizing. Which is believable enough. Then a second person pulled just dough out, cut it, boxed it, all without realizing this. We had the same complaint once in the 4 years I worked at Pizza Hut, and a person refused to bring it back for us to verify. Reap 268 said, I once got a party pizza from a local place that I was eating with some friends, and one of them actually found a metal screw in the cheese. We were all pretty appalled until the guy who picked it up from the restaurant remembered that, while waiting, he heard someone from the pizza kitchen yell that his coworker broke his favorite pizza cutter. Parts of the cutter must have landed on our pizza right before they cooked it. So yeah, I think I prefer my pizza with as little leftover pizza cutter as possible. Crazy Lighter said, my dad, a Canadian for reference, once went to the Middle East and asked for pizza at a restaurant. When the owner asked him what toppings he wanted, my dad made the mistake of saying everything, the usual. The owner came back with a pizza with carrots, peas, lamb and other unusual toppings. Not toppings like pepperoni, peppers, etc. Dad ate it, but he said it was quite an interesting take on pizza. Tigu Dom said, I worked at a pizza shop, and this old guy used to come in and bring his own toppings in plastic baggies or Tupperware containers, ranged from leftover barbecue pork, barbecue chicken, leftover salmon, literally just his leftover from other meals. The owner was real cool with him and didn't care. One time I made him a pizza using leftovers from Thanksgiving he brought in, turkey, green beans, stuffing, cranberries, and he'd usually add pepperoni and cheese from the restaurant all the time with whatever he brought in. The Crooner said, I have had a jackfruit pizza, and the texture of soft mushy jackfruit was not something that I was expecting. I have grown up eating jackfruit and it is one of my favorite veggies. But I never knew it could be prepared weird mushy. It tastes completely different if it is slightly fried. The meat crisps up and it tastes yum. So I picked up pieces of jackfruit from the pizza, put them in a pan and fried them. Took some time as they were quite soft. Then back on pizza, and I really enjoyed it then. It needs to be cooked properly and not steam boiled. Music Freak said, when I served in the Navy, we had on the ship what was called XO's movie night. While on deployment, on every Saturday night the XO filmed a little comedy skit and shown it on the ship's TV system. Afterwards, there would be what was usually a new release movie. This one particular night, we had a pizza that was special. We had been out to sea for about 70+ days straight. After 45 days out to sea, we get 2 beers on beer day, and we already had gone through a beer day, and was approaching another. We were all really stressed out and working hard. Being underway for so long really limits the fresh food choices, and the quality of food deteriorated about 2 weeks after each replenishment. The pizza offered a glimmer of hope to all of us looking forward to filling up our guts with some greasy comfort food. Well, the pizza was made from scratch, and the culinary specialists, CSs, had made some beautiful pies. We're all in line salivating over the thought and sight of this delicious looking pizza. We step up to the serving CS and he drops 2 slices on our tray. It's beautiful, with cheese, slices of pepperoni and with extra cheese on top. A buddy and myself sit down to eat and start devouring this pizza. Wait a minute, something is off. There's no greasy pepperoni flavor. It actually tastes like beets. There's not a single pepperoni on this pizza. These motherfucking idiot CSs put fucking beets in pizza. What the fuck? I immediately stood up and threw the pizza in the trash out of spite, regardless if it tasted good or not, which it didn't because beets are fucking gross. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Idred said, cherries. Was at a campground and some dude and his daughter Mistress Itantuanak now bichuas at least 1/3 retisagene very affectionate made a pizza and added fucking cherries as a topping. They offered me a slice, and from the look on the woman's face offering more, but fuck me, that was a gross combination of toppings. Like a veggie pizza, but with the fucking cherries. People that put cherries on their pizzas need to be exiled to the sun. Fast Cash List said, TBH, and because pizza is so open-ended in what can be done with it, I suggest that only inedible things should not be put on. Things like rocks, sand, wood, steel shavings, poisons of all kinds. Things that one cannot actually use as food. That said, my personal dislike for things that are too runny because it will make a mess on pizza are right out. No soup. I enjoy all kinds of meats, domesticated or wild, though some will object to mink or beaver due to the extra fatty nature of them. And deer puts me off a bit, mostly due to its somewhat gamey flavor. I am not a big fan of shellfish on pizza due in part to the clash with a good cheese. I do like seafood in general, but draw the line on pizza at squishy like sea cucumber or oysters. As to the haters of pineapple, I will say that most pizza joints would go out of business if they stopped offering it. I am not a big fan of it, but when done properly it can be a quite tasty dessert pizza. Which always brings out the ice cream pizza. Bake the pie first, add the ice cream just before serving. Cheese is optional, emo. Chocolate sauce is a good topping choice as are sprinkles. Banana, actually any fruit is a reasonable alternative and optional topping as well. Remember, one person's meat is another's poison. All tastes are accounted for in the world. Look at all the recipes available here on the internet. There is even one just for you. Skits 101 said, "This is more of a story, but it deals with pineapple on pizza. Occasionally, our workplace, of 4 people, decides to order pizza. So 2 pizzas usually feed 4 people. One of my coworkers insists one of the pizza be Hawaiian. He always only eats 1 piece of the Hawaiian and a couple of the other, usually works, leaving pretty much an entire pie of Hawaiian. I've learned to tolerate pineapple on pizza, so I'm usually the one to pick up his slack, but I'd much prefer the works." Peter's Tigers set anchovies. When I used to work at Little Caesars, the other coworkers would tell me horror stories about anchovies. They had already gotten rid of the topping when I got tired. The rule of the store was that anyone who took an order for an anchovy pizza had to personally go back and make the pizza themselves, as the anchovies smelled so bad and were so gross. The people who worked in the back refused to make it. Shade said, "As many would say pineapple, I'm on the contrary with that. I love pineapples on pizza. What I didn't like, however, and what could be among the worst, is having bits of scrambled eggs as toppings. It was during one point back when I was 13. I was with my fam and we were on our way back home from vacation. I was nauseous at the time. It's been going on for a long time, so I didn't want to eat much along the way. We ordered a pizza in the place where we stopped, then I found out about the toppings. I don't remember much thereafter, but I think I was able to keep myself from throwing up. I eventually came to know that my nausea would be a small part of something I'd be diagnosed with a few days later." Wormhole said, "This is a dumb question as it's entirely subjective what tastes good on pizza. Objectively speaking, the only bad toppings is too many toppings. So those ridiculous meat veggie lover pizzas where there are so many toppings a slice cannot support the weight and it gets too soggy and watered down. Otherwise, for every person who loves anchovies and hates pineapple, there are an equal number who love pineapple and hate anchovies." Chewy Spro said, "An awesome local pizza place that my missus and I used to go to changed their menu when the old owners sold up and retired. The new lot paunced it up big time. Avocado, smoked salmon, crab amongst others, which I like, don't work on pizza. So much so that on weekends the place is full of pretentious wankers and instards. It's not funny. No locals go there anymore. The worst offense? Fucking artichokes. Take that shit and go gently fuck yourself with it." Reds Fan 1970 said, "My in-laws were visiting years ago. Mother-in-law ordered a pizza with everything. Pizza place asked if we wanted anchovies. Mother-in-law asked if they were free. Pizza place said they were included on the everything pizza. Mother-in-law is a tightwad. She got the anchovies. Pizza went in the garbage. Nobody would eat it. Mother-in-law bitched and cried. PB&J was served." Peas 8 Carrots said, "I have lived in Asia for the last 10 years and it's basically bad pizza roulette every time someone gets the bright idea to order. Sugared spam? Mayonnaise? Cream cheese and corn? Fruit? Del Monte ketchup sauce? Hot dog? Never mind that the preferred cooking style is more like steamed than baked, spongy, soggy crust as pale as raw flour. Caesarea, Pizza Hut, Yellow Cab, guilty as charged." Forget-me-not Fairy said, "Well, the worst school dinner they used faux serve on Fridays was tuna on pizza. I hate fish, but not just that. The pizza consisted of some cheap French bread with ketchup and canned tuna pieces on top. The ketchup would turn the inside of the bread into liquid with grizzled tuna chunks in it, turning it into a slurry of ketchup, molten bread and disgusting dehydrated fish. My school wasn't even religious but still served fish every Friday. You were forced to eat it by the teachers. To this day it is the worst thing I've ever eaten."